welcome to Survivor on Campus. So this is our final tribal council. So our final three is Jake, Lana, and Carly. We're gonna start off by giving them each a chance to, explain their game. Try to be like, a little short, this is why you should vote for me thing. And then after that, we'll have each jury member ask their questions. And then after that, we'll have you guys vote, and I'll reveal a winner, and that will be that. So yeah, I think first things first, we'll start with you final three. Does anyone want to go first to plead their case to the jury?
So, going in, I didn't have a lot of strategy, and I was kind of like, yeah, like whatever, it's a game. And now we're here, and I'm like so ready to fight for my $1 million. So yeah, at first I really was just like, okay, whatever. And then like my tribe, and I was like, yeah, this is fun. And yeah, then we like made fake idols, and we were like, yeah, this is fun. And it was really fun. But then just kind of looking back at it, my alliance strategy, I think, has been what brought me this far in the game, and knowing when to drop my alliances, which is really sad and I really don't like. But yeah, just being with Jebby and Christian and Carly at the beginning, and then you two got immediately voted out at the merge. And so then it was just kind of like, well, and then here we were, and Rachel, our brief alliance of before you got voted out, just was, honestly, I think was a turning point in my game. And so thanks for getting me here, I guess. But just kind of being grafted into the Kai groups, and seeing where things fit when it was just the two of us left for Moya, and then moving to kind of have Jebby, you were gone and I was sad, but like Elsie and Molly and the new people and all of that, and then ultimately just kind of thinking like, oh, like now it's getting close to it, and who are we gonna go with all the way? And so then Jake, and so yeah, just that I think I was not expecting to have to like think so much about, which I guess is stupid of me, but I enjoyed it, and yeah, I like you all. I'm glad to have been in alliances with a lot of you, and I'm really sorry to the people that I backstabbed.
First of all, I just want to say thank you to every one of you for just playing the game. I can honestly say this has been one of the most fun things that I've done on campus thus far. Yeah, and I couldn't do it without you guys because you need a lot of people to play Survivor, and I'm sorry that you had to be on the jury and not here. But for me, my game, I definitely at the start didn't really throw myself into it because I wanted to make sure that I just get past the first couple votes, because you don't really want to be the first one to like dictate the votes. So I was kind of just going along with the flow, seeing what happened, and definitely some luck was on my side, but I think that's okay in the game of Survivor because Kai definitely did win the majority of the challenges, so that helped going into the merge. But I definitely, my game really got a lot better post-merge. Just with the bonds that I formed and the alliances that I had, specifically with Molly, Rachel, and Elsie. That was what we had, but I was also willing to form more alliances, like closer, and I definitely didn't see like Carly and Lana on the outs. Instead of what I thought of was I can use them as like a number, and so what I did was get them to vote a way that wouldn't mess up my game too detrimentally. So yeah, I probably had like 5 different Telegram group chats with Alliance people, and I definitely set myself up to have a lot of different options to get to the end. I know specifically I had 4 people tell me they would like to go to the end with me. Molly, Kendall, Lana, and Elsie. So I definitely didn't feel super threatened to get out of the game. I also proved myself wrong because I didn't think I could win as many immunities as I did, and I can proudly say that I've won the most, 3. Rachel, you were a close contender, but I'm sorry you had to go. Yeah, and I think the biggest selling point in my game is that during the whole game, I received 0 votes against me. I don't know if any of you noticed that, but I don't know. For me, I think that's really hard to do, and I don't think it's because I wasn't seen as a threat. I think it's just because I played really good under the radar, and you guys didn't see that. Well, you did in that one challenge, but you still didn't act on it, so thank you. And yeah, now I'm here and I'm just super excited.
So, coming into this game, I really wasn't sure how things were gonna shake out because I saw it as pretty much like 2 groups of people. Like, there was me and sort of like my group of friends that like I come to Survivor Club with and whatnot, and then everybody else. And I quickly had to lose that mindset because I knew that was gonna hold me back. So I came in and my game quickly became based on 2 things. Definitely social bonds, but also a lot of calculated risk. So going into the game, the first vote that we did on the Moya tribe, we voted out Winona, and that was my closest ally on my tribe. Second vote, Jonathan. Second closest ally on that tribe for me. And in both of these situations, I had to weigh social bonds, calculated risk, and each time I had to let a bond go in order to grow new bonds, which I believe I did successfully with Christian and Jebby and Lon. And so then we moved into the merge together, and during the merge, obviously Jebby and Christian got voted out right away. But part of that was also still always calculating the risks because, like, did I want to vote Jebby out at the merge? No, I wanted to keep numbers. But it was a risk I was willing to take, and it worked out. So as we went into the merge, I had like little bonds with most people, I feel like. I don't think Kendall or Caleb or I ever really talked much at all, or really Rachel, but so with most people though, I feel like I had some sort of bond, which kind of allowed me to just flow along with everyone until we came to Caleb's vote. And that's when the risk really started rising, we shall say, because I found 2 idols that day, and both of them were completely in front of everyone. They were hanging in plain sight, and so both of those I had to grab in front of a group of people, and that was a risk because obviously that would kill my game if anyone saw that. And so I was able to do that successfully, and as we kept going, there was more risk of like, do I play this? Do I not play this? And a little level of like paranoia started building in me because like, did somebody know I have this? But I had to constantly start relying on my social bonds a little bit more because I needed to wait and I needed to be patient and I needed to trust in what I had built. And I did that until came to Molly's. And Molly, on your vote, Elsie and I had a final 2 deal from the very beginning of this game. And so she was who I always planned on going to the end with. And so when it came down to Molly or Elsie, I chose Elsie. And that's also when I started to choose risk over bonds. I kind of threw my bonds away a little bit at the end, because as soon as I played my idol, I knew I made my bed, I had to lie in it. And I did that. And so the next tribal, again, how many times am I gonna say this word tonight? Risk. I told Elsie about my second idol because I believed like we could really use this to move forward, to make a plan, to make sure that we get ourselves to the end like we wanted. I got to the challenge that day and we got to strategizing afterward, and I could see it in her face what she did. And so when it came time to play the idol, I hesitated because I knew that would make her hesitate. And I did not want her to play anything. I didn't want Lana to play anything until I was ready. I wanted to have the control, and I did. And then Final Four happened, and now here. And the whole way I was always weighing the risks, and that was probably the biggest part of my game, is trusting my gut and trying to balance those bonds with all the risk that I had to take. And so I feel like because I towed that line as well as I did, you should vote for me.
All right, so now we'll turn it over to the jury. Jury, you guys have an opportunity to ask the final three some questions about their game. You do not have to address all three of the final three, and you can ask one question per person or one question for all three of them to answer, but not multiple questions per person. So we will start with Josh.
Jake, you said like you got lucky a little bit in like some of the things that happened since the merge, and you said that was okay, which I agree. You know, sometimes things just happen in your favor. Who do you think is the luckiest person out of the three of you that has helped them get to the final?
Well, based on like challenges, I would say me, but I don't think I did it all based on luck. I think, I guess I would say Lana, just because everyone seemed to want to take her, so it was kind of just like, everyone was viewing her as like, I want to take her to the end. So that's kind of lucky.
Anyway, let's see. Lana, good to see you. I don't really have a question. Carly, you talked about that your whole game was calculating risk, and being able to throw away bonds. So how was, I promise this is not petty, how was taking a college athlete to the merge? I understand keeping the girls alive. That's great, that's smart, keep your numbers. But I was taking a college athlete to the merge over, you know, me, sportsmanship award winner. The best move for your game. How was that not risk? Especially like, or how is that a calculated risk? Especially like when it comes to, and then because I can't ask multiple questions all the time. Excuse me.
Sorry, we're bonding.
When and then also with calculated risk, you said that voting out Jebby was one of those two. But I just see throwing away numbers and going along with the majority to stay alive, which is fine, but also it's not like, don't try to play it off like it was like some calculated thing that you came up with. I think it was just going along with it. What I described after me voting out, getting voted out, was Christian the wolf leading a bunch of lambs to the slaughter. That's what I saw happening. But do you have a response to that? Like how was that actually calculated?
How that was calculated was, first off, my game was not based on throwing away bonds. My game was based on throwing away those bonds when I needed to but balancing those with the risk. So Christian, I had a stronger social bond with him than I did with you. And so I kept that bond. That was me keeping my bonds. And yes, that is a risk, bringing an athlete into the merge, but I trusted him much, much more than I trusted you. And so I kept him, because when you go into a merge, you want to be able to trust the people you're with. And so that's why I did what I did.
All right, Caleb.
All right, so I have one question, and it would be great to hear from all three of you. Deception plays a role throughout Survivor. It did in this case. All of you probably experienced this in one way or another. Would you explain how, and if you did use any sort of deception against other people to kind of build a stronger bond with another person, or how did that kind of play a role in your game throughout the time?
I think for me, I did a really good job of deceiving. Not in like a bad sense, but definitely that one challenge, touchy subjects. Yeah. The fact that I already won an immunity and you guys basically gave me another immunity, I just think that shows where I stood in the game, because though I still had to answer the right questions, and I think I did that really well because I knew the dynamics of the tribe and I knew where everyone stood and what everyone thought of people. And you all voted me as the most trustworthy. And we all know every one of us has lied in the game, including me. So that's deceptive in its own sense. The fact that you guys still thought of me as this person that you can trust and that I'm definitely going to go to the end with you no matter what. Yeah, and you still believed me, and you guys never wrote my name down to vote against me. I'm the only person in this game that has not received a vote.
I kind of like, from the beginning, was thinking about like how I could avoid the deception aspect, which is really just like, it's Survivor, so I don't really know where I was thinking about that, but I just have it as such a strong principle, and like my friends tease me about it or whatever, but I also feel like it's something where if I'm gonna say that it really matters to me in like the big things of life, it feels really shallow of me to say that in a game it doesn't matter. And so I really went into it trying not to deceive people, and I don't think I succeeded. I might be able to say that I never like looked someone in the eyes and said something directly untrue to them, but I mean, there were like, especially with Rachel, I kind of had perceived that you were thinking things and I knew they were incorrect from my end, and I just like, it just was so awkward and like weird. So honestly, I'm surprised I even got away with it. But
Okay, so how I deceived in the game was, touching on touchy subjects also for a second, was I was voted the wild card. So, and that was kind of on purpose because I told everybody what they wanted to hear from me. And that was on purpose because, like, when Jake was like, you know, it made people trust me was the big thing. So like, for instance, on the Molly vote, Jake came up to me, he was like, oh, like, I don't know if you're gonna be open to this, but I was like, I'm open to anything. Like I'm down here, whatever you have to say. And he was like, I think we should vote Elsie. Like this is why. And I was like, yeah, I'm so willing to vote Elsie. And there's a few different examples like that where people trusted me and they told me things because I told you what you wanted me to tell you. I gave you what you wanted to hear from me. And so that was how I deceived and how that got me further.
All right, Kendall.
So this question's kind of for all three of you again.
But if you had to go back and do it all over again, what is one thing you think that you would do differently?
I would not have gotten so heated at the Final Four, or going into the Final Four, Final Five vote. I would have kept my filter on, and I would not have gotten so caught up in the intensity of the moment if I could go back. I would have breathed, I would have calmed myself down, and I wouldn't have gotten so worked up as much as I did.
I mean, for me, there's not much I would change because this is how I got here, but maybe for me, I would have not voted out Caleb, just because I think that was too early of a move to make. Because the guys were really dwindling in number, and I didn't really want to leave just me and Kendall, but it was a move that I decided to make because everyone else was going with it, and I knew my vote really wouldn't have changed much. It would have just been a tie, and who knows what would have happened then. But I did that because I made sure that I was on the right side of the votes. Every vote, and I think I was, except for if you count the 2 idle plays, but every vote I was in the majority of who was supposed to go home. But yeah, but I don't think voting out Caleb did much because me and Kendall still rocked. And we didn't get defeated by all the 5 girls that could have easily voted us out.
The way that I played the game, I think I regretted sitting out the balancing thing instead of the tug of war when I was sick, because the tug of war was definitely harder on my physical state, and I was just like, that was terrible. And I think I could have had a good chance at that balancing one, but it didn't go horribly for my tribe overall. I mean, we voted someone out over it, so it did, but
It's 2 options. One of them's
yeah.
All right, Molly.
Well, first of all, guys, congratulations on making it to this point. That's something that none of us could do, so congrats, huge shout out. I have a question for each of you. So I'll start with Jake and then just go down the line. Okay, so Jake, we know you're kind of like a physical beast with your immune the idol doves. But I guess what I'm wondering, and I think some of the other jury members too, are your social game.
My social game, I think, was pretty on point just because everyone was willing to talk to me, and I'm not even the one that made the group chats. People just added me. So that shows that they wanted to work with me, and yeah, I was just being myself, and I think that played in my favor a lot. Just because, yeah, I had a bunch of group chats and I made a lot of bonds, so that really helped me to get through and to not be at risk of getting voted out. I know me and you, nobody knows us, maybe, but we formed a bond to the end, and that unfortunately it didn't work out. But yeah, everyone was just willing to work for me. That's why my social game was really good.
All right, question for Lana. So you mentioned in your speech that you had formed some alliances, and you just, to me anyways, it seemed like you were kind of going with the flow for a lot of the game. Could you explain to the jury a time when you acted on your own, whether it was a strategic move, an alliance that you specifically reached out to somebody to form? Brag on yourself a little bit.
I'd say the moment that I stopped just kind of going with whatever was currently happening was the vote where you went out, and that place where it was you and Kendall and you, and then you and me and Elsie, and there was someone else. No, that was it, because it was going to be a tie vote. And it was going to be that the 3 of you voted Elsie and the 3 of us voted Molly. But at that point, I did start thinking, where do I want to go long term? And I really did think, if I went with Carly and Elsie, I have no shot. And so at that point, I did start thinking, like, who do I actually want to go to the end with? And so I was going to vote Elsie out and go with you three. And then Carly was like being really cryptic because she had an idol, which I totally did not think of as even a possibility. But she was just like, I think we should just stick to it. Like, I really don't think I can go against Elsie. Like, I think we gotta go with her all the way. And so I kind of was like, oh, I don't know what to do. And then I sat there and I was like, with my little paper, and I was like, I don't know who to vote for. And I think Michael stopped recording me, and he was like, what's going on? But it was just like, that moment was where I kind of decided, like, here's the game I want to play going forward. And so I did vote for Elsie. And if Carly had not played the idol, Elsie would have left that night, and it would not have been a tie vote. Because I was thinking, like, solidifying my alliance is what I want moving forward.
First of all, I just want to like let out in the air. No hard feelings with the blind side, nothing but respect. But I did want to ask about something that you mentioned in your speech, how you leveraged social bonds throughout the game. And I wanted some clarification because it seemed to me, besides the alliances you had formed with people in Moya, besides Elsie, who you knew prior to the game, who was on Kai, that it seemed like you had some difficulty connecting with people from the Kai tribe. So I wanted to ask whether this was strategy or part of the social game. So if you could elaborate on that, that'd be great.
Strategy, and part of it was just me because I am not a very social person normally. And so this was me being this is like probably one of the most social I've ever been in my life. And so part of it was just me, and then part of it was a little bit strategic because I feel like Elsie was a really great partner for me because she helped open doors to me, like to you, to other members of Kai. So she was a really good like key to unlock the little social door to get in. But once I got in, I tried to make little bonds, but keep them shallow enough to where I could cut you and you wouldn't hate me.
Jake, so I never really got to play with you too much, seeing as we've talked about a number of times today, me and Chelsea got voted out right, me and Debbie got voted out right at the merge. But yeah, so Chelsea, that's a new ship, I guess. Anyways.
Wait, you two were voted. Sorry.
Yeah. So I never obviously really got to play with you too much in this game, even really talk to you about it. So kind of give me. I know you've talked about it a little bit whenever Rachel asked you about like your biggest move, but like other than winning a couple immunities and not getting a vote, just kind of flying under the radar. I mean, I know Rachel said that you voted the right way every time. I mean, I guess technically, but you also voted for two people who didn't get out because of immunity idols, which I guess you can't really see coming. But did you ever like think about turning and flipping on anybody? Because I feel like you just kind of like, did you think that the best way for you to get to the end was just staying within who you had and that they would take you there, or did you think that you were leading everything?
Okay, well, I guess it's time to be honest. I know I said 100% Molly. That was a lie. Okay, it wasn't like a 0% I'm not gonna take you, but I definitely thought of you like as somebody I might need to get out. Just because your social game, again, on point, just like many people have pointed out. So I definitely considered it, but I think it just worked out in my favor that I didn't have to like get the blood on my hands with the idols. But back to your question, like strategy-wise, I think I just, in conversations, I said the right thing to people. With Lana, I said we played similar games I didn't think that, but
Oh. I believed it.
I just wanted you to be on the same page. I'm sorry. Yeah, and I know with Carly, when it was the 5, I didn't think she had an idol, but I thought, okay, like, what if she has another idol? Like, so when I was talking with her by myself, if there was an idol, it's me or Kendall. So Kendall, I kind of try to get her to vote for you just in case she played an idol. And I'm sorry, that's a lot of truth that I just spilled, but I hope you can respect that it's Survivor and you have to do that to play well.
All right, so that's it. So we're gonna start voting. Jury, do you feel ready to vote? Good. Okay. So this is how it's gonna work. You guys are voting for a winner. You guys want to see your name get written down. Jake for the first time in this game. But so we're gonna have you guys vote.
Jake, you said really good things today. I still don't really know a whole ton about your game, but you at least make good strategic points. And I do know about the other girls' game, which was crap.
Jake.
You get a smiley face as well. Jake, I am so proud of you for making it to the end. I'm also so glad that you were honest out there and you told the jury that you were thinking about voting me out. I think that just sealed the deal for you. If the votes go the way that I think they will, Jake, I'm just proud of you for putting your heart into the game and how you played. It was super classy, and yeah, we'll see what happens, but.
Okay, so going into tribal council, well, kind of going through the jury the whole way, and seeing Carly's game, I thought, like, she is the most powerful player, and I think if she gets to tribal council, then she'll win. But I came into tribal council thinking, you know what, I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm gonna wait and see how the people argue. And Jake argued phenomenally. I mean, he said that he played a perfect game, and he did. And he also outlined how many allies he had, which was very beneficial to him. Lana, I think, was very honest in her approach, talking about how she didn't want to lie to people, and I really appreciate that. Weighing in that aspect, and honestly, that Jake has gotten no votes against him, and he's voted right every time that an idol hasn't been played, and he's made so many alliances, and even when those people are on the jury, those people still think of him well. That just shows how well of a social game he played, and no one thought him a threat.
Congratulations on a perfect game. You played mostly the game that I would have wanted to play, and you owned up to your moves, which Carly really didn't do during this, and she was the other person I was leaning towards. So congratulations. Thank you for owning up to what you did, because that's exactly what we wanted to hear, and that's exactly what you should have done. Again, congrats. You did a great job.
Jake, I think you owned your moves. I think you played a really good game of Survivor. You won plenty of immunities. And even though your game was kind of upended by a couple of hidden immunity idols, I think you stayed course, played a really good game. I think, Carly, I was really close to voting you, but I think that overall your game was a little too chaotic and unhinged for me at the end, and I think you could have gotten there a lot easier than you did, than the path that you took. So that's why Jake is my vote.
All right, guys. For the last time, I'll go tally the votes. All right, guys. This is it. The big finale. You guys are looking for your name to be on the votes. These are votes for a winner. And then that will be it. I'll go ahead and read the votes. First vote, Jake.
Down.
Jake. 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 The winner of Survivor on Campus, Jake. You win the title of sole survivor of Grove City's very first Survivor on Campus. Congratulations, Jake. And to Lana and Carly, you guys played a great game. Making it to the final three is a feat of its own, so congratulations to you guys as well for that.